Is Elon's empire crumbling, or is Wall Street about to witness the most shocking comeback in corporate history? While headlines make it feel like this is the end of Tesla and investors rush to flee the stock in droves, a revolutionary AI breakthrough inside Tesla's research labs, one that Forbes calls a multi-trillion-dollar opportunity, is about to blindside everyone. And if you own Tesla shares, or if you've been watching from the sidelines, wondering if Tesla's fortune-making run is over, then please pay close attention to the following message, because renowned tech insider Jeff Brown says the same experts who laughed at me for telling everyone to buy Tesla in 2018 are scaring investors away yet again. But just like last time, the mainstream media is missing the big picture. And if you listen to them now, it'll cost you the chance of a lifetime. Today, for the first time ever, he is coming forward to reveal what he calls the $25 trillion Tesla story that no one is telling you. And it's a story that starts with a shocking AI brain breakthrough buried inside Tesla's AI division, but ends with a wealth creation event that could rival the invention of electricity itself. For you folks tuning in at home, my name is Chris Hurt. I am happy to be your host today, and joining me in just a second is a man who spent the last 36 years at the bleeding edge of tech innovation, a former senior executive at Qualcomm, NXP Semiconductors, and Juniper Networks, companies that he helped to grow and which are now generating more than $50 billion in revenue every year. In fact, that expertise is why Jeff is consulted for the Department of Commerce and even the Pentagon. And thanks to all of this unique access, he's developed an uncanny ability to spot massive tech shifts like Bitcoin, artificial intelligence, genetic editing, and self-driving cars before they minted millionaires. But now he says what no one realizes is that Elon's next move with Tesla's AI technology will unleash a staggering 25,000% growth market as soon as July 23rd. All but making Tesla's fortunes look like pocket change. Grab a pen and paper, because what Jeff is about to reveal could reshape your financial future and help secure your family's wealth for decades to come. Jeff Brown, thank you very much for being with us, coming on with us today.
Hi, Chris. Thank you so much for having me. It's great to see you as always. And it kind of feels like it's been too long, doesn't it?
I agree.
I mean, I know I saw you just a few weeks ago, but AI developments are happening so quickly right now. I feel like we should be speaking with one another at least every week just to keep up with what's going on.
I am all in favor of that. But hey, look, I don't think it's my fault. You're the one that's traveling everywhere and doing research and meeting with important people. But yes, it is great to see you, and I agree. It reminds me, too, that you and I together, you've been exposing, and I've been along for the ride, some really enormous stories together, you and I, over the last few years. The invention of genetic editing technology, the first FDA approval of a CRISPR-based drug. We got Bitcoin,
right,
artificial intelligence, self-driving cars out there. In fact, as far as I'm aware, I think you were one of the very few to refer to NVIDIA as an AI company, instead of a gaming company,
Absolutely,
right?
Yes.
And along the same lines, there's Tesla. You saw it as an AI company. Most of us out there thought it was a car company. You had to straighten us out on that.
We have had a fantastic run together, and I'm happy to say I believe today's opportunity is only going to be even bigger.
Right. Thank you for that segue. And that's what I want to talk to you about today, because this brand new 25,000% growth market. So
I can see it on your face.
Well, you know what I'm going to say, because I don't think I've ever heard you promise anything like that before. Am I hearing you right? I mean, I assume that I am hearing you correctly, but the problem is that is a crazy number, and you know it. So I want to know if you can prove it.
Well, you heard me right. And of course, as always, I'm going to prove everything to you today.
All right. And I promise you, I'm going to hold him to it. Right?
Well, you always do, Chris, and I know you will. Because what we're here to talk about today truly is on the bleeding edge of artificial intelligence technology. And as I'll show you, up until very recently, the breakthrough that I've discovered wasn't viable for real world applications, the kind of things that we could see, touch, and feel. Mm-hmm. It's something that I refer to as manifested artificial intelligence, or manifested AI for short. So while the concept of manifested AI has been pursued for decades, long having been the realm of things like science fiction, the technology remained trapped inside of research labs far too immature to escape into the real world. But now, thanks to Elon Musk's and his team's latest innovation, we're now looking at the birth of one of the most explosive industries in the world.
Mm-hmm. And we're not here to talk about Elon's cars, his self-driving cars, are we?
Well, no, we're actually here to talk about the next evolution of Elon's technology. Chris, up until now, most people in the general public have only interacted with AI on a screen.
Right. A computer or maybe a cell phone.
That's right. Whether that's through OpenAI's ChatGPT or something like Apple's Siri, Google's Gemini, or the Home Assistant, or any number of popular AI applications. But now, a new breakthrough is set to enable artificial intelligence to what I call escape from the two-dimensional world of our digital screens and manifest AI here in the three-dimensional real world that we live in.
Right. And again, that's why you call it manifested AI, because this is AI that's tangible. You said it a minute ago. We can touch it and feel it.
That's right. And it's a lot more than that. I mean, we're actually manifesting AI in forms that we humans will find easy and comfortable to interact with. And that's why we're here today, because manifested AI is poised to take a market that's sitting around $18 billion today and send it $25 trillion higher.
All right. How in the world is that going to be possible?
Well, just take a look at these headlines and you'll see that it's not only possible, Silicon Valley giants are getting ready for this as we speak. Quartz magazine reports NVIDIA goes all in on manifested AI. The New York Post says Mark Zuckerberg to invest in manifested AI to compete with Tesla. CNBC just announced Jeff Bezos makes big $400 million bet on manifested AI. And this is really only a small handful of the big players who are diving headfirst into manifested AI.
Okay. All right. NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang, Zuckerberg, Bezos. Granted, it looks like Silicon Valley's most tech or successful tech innovators are going in head first here, like you just said. But Jeff, you're still going to need to do a lot of work here to convince me on this, right? We're talking about a potential market growth of 25,000%. So I know you realize that, but with that kind of growth, that's like turning $5,000 into a $1.2 million fortune, right?
That's right, Chris. I totally understand it. I do. And the fact is, you won't like this, but I'm being conservative with my estimate here. So get this. Morgan Stanley says manifested AI will grow by as much as 157,400% in the years ahead. That wasn't a typo. Citigroup went even bigger, telling its clients they're expecting nearly 3 million% growth in the manifested AI product market.
Nearly 3 million%.
Well, it's all right here. Take a look.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Sure enough. So you know what? We're going to come back to those predictions in a minute because I can't handle all that right now. This is what I got to know. What exactly did Elon discover here? And why does that discovery seem to have everybody predicting such massive growth? That's unbelievable.
All right. Well, that's the question, Chris. That's the right one. And to put it simply, he has figured out the one problem AI companies have spent tens of billions of dollars, tens of thousands of man hours, and decades of research trying to solve. It's called the reality gap.
The reality gap. I'm not sure I follow you.
Well, I promise it'll make sense in a few moments. But for now, all we need to understand is the reality gap is the one problem that's been holding back AI's true world-altering potential for decades. It's the reason why, until very recently, we've only seen the impressive chatbots and image generators, but not the real-world AI impact that everyone has promised up until this point in time. However, thanks to Elon's latest breakthrough, that is all about to change. Because while everyone else was trying to bridge this reality gap by attempting to program their manifested AI with a perfect digital replica of our physical world, which is, Chris, it's an impossible task that would take decades to complete, if ever, Elon asked one simple but bold question that changed everything. He asked, what if we gave AI the ability to perceive the environment just like humans do? And he answered his own question by building what I call a vision-based neural network, or an AI brain with eyes. And by doing so, Elon did something that almost all experts in the field, Chris, they insisted it was impossible. But now, for the first time ever, Elon gave artificial intelligence the ability to truly think, to see the world in a similar way that we do, to infer the correct course of action, to achieve a task and do it with an unmatched level of precision. So finally giving us a way to realize all of AI's untapped potential here in the real world. So according to Bloomberg, it's this breakthrough, this success that has investors flocking to manifested AI firms after years of setbacks. Because like NVIDIA's CEO Jensen Huang told Financial Times, manifested AI is about to take off in a big way. And the big players like Goldman Sachs know it too, as they write, the urgency for manifested AI is palpable.
Mm-hmm. So you just said that Elon is essentially taking the impossible and making it possible. And I think I understand what you're saying. Yeah, again, exactly. So in short, this breakthrough sounds like it could change everything. But see, I still have to ask, if that's the case, then why hasn't this been splashed across every newspaper and tech blog? I mean, this is big headline news, the world over. What you just described to me sounds like the biggest breakthrough that AI has ever seen.
It absolutely is, Chris. But the truth is, right now, everyday investors are distracted by the latest chatbot or AI image generator, which at this point, it's almost like it's last year's news. I mean, they're still enamored with the AI on their computer screens, not to mention that the mainstream media continues to be motivated to only portray Elon Musk in a negative light. I mean, put simply, the mainstream media has most folks looking backwards, but the smartest tech visionaries are looking way into the future.
Toward manifested AI.
Exactly right. Exactly right. The smartest people in technology understand that AI's next evolutionary leap isn't happening on our screens. Instead, it's about to manifest itself here in the physical world all around us. So in fact, earlier this year, Jensen Huang said, the ChatGPT moment for manifested AI is around the corner. And based on what I'm seeing after talking to my own industry connections, along with Elon Musk solving manifested AI's reality gap dilemma, we're at the precipice of a very important moment in history. And investors who get into and position themselves now, they could experience a rare second chance at ChatGPT-like fortunes.
All right. So, Jeff, I know I read recently in Fortune magazine that ever since ChatGPT shocked the world, what was it, 2022? The resulting boom, the AI-fueled stock boom that followed that helped to mint over 600,000 new millionaires.
Incredible, right?
You're now saying that thanks to Elon's latest innovation, we're about to see this same kind of millionaire minting opportunity all over again?
Well, not exactly, Chris. Not the same kind of opportunity. Actually, it's a far bigger opportunity. Chris, do you remember when ChatGPT went live and it was all in the headlines?
I definitely do, back in 22.
I mean, we saw some truly life-changing gains. Big name AI stocks like NVIDIA shot up by more than 750%. Newer AI data companies like Palantir soared more than 1,500%, and even little-known AI infrastructure firms like TSS rocketed 2,500% higher. Now, these kinds of gains are how 600,000 new millionaires were made just from the first wave of AI. But what is coming next could dwarf what's happening today. Because according to my own research, manifested AI is already shaping up to be 14 times bigger than chatbots, generative AI, and even quantum AI combined.
All right. So in other words, you just said that's 14 times bigger than the same trend that helped mint 600,000 new millionaires. So I'm not going to do the math, but obviously that would be millions of new millionaires this time around.
That's exactly right. And that's why Elon Musk recently held an all-hands-on-deck meeting where he told his staff to hold on to Tesla shares for dear life because he is convinced manifested AI could make Tesla a $25 trillion company.
There's that now, $25 trillion. So, I mean, that's like what? 8 times bigger than Apple's valuation right now.
Correct.
So Elon has got to he's exaggerating here. He's got to be overpromising or something, right?
You must be in a funky mood today. You're awfully hard to convince, Chris.
I got to give you something to work for.
These are firm numbers, but we've seen this kind of impact from tech revolutions before. I mean, for example, when Amazon Web Services kicked off the six-fold growth of the cloud computing market, Amazon, everybody thought was an e-commerce company, grew 1,200% right alongside it. So when Apple's iPhone product launch sparked the tenfold boom in the smartphone market, this is back in 2007, Apple exploded 4,100% as well. And when Tesla's Model S release triggered 79-fold growth in the new EV market, Tesla created countless Teslaires with a 10,500% fortune. And, of course, while I can't promise that anybody's going to see gains this high, as nothing in the market is guaranteed, Chris, I hope by now you're beginning to understand why I say that 25,000% market growth is no exaggeration. In fact, it's not even a prediction about the future. Elon's recent breakthrough means it's already happening right now. I mean, we are looking at potentially the biggest tech revolution in history. And you still have a narrow window of time to position your money before Elon's new breakthrough fully catches on, taking AI out of our computer screens and giving AI a brain to function and navigate in the real world, our world, all while sparking a new 25,000% growth market starting as soon as July 23rd. Now, the best part of all, Chris, right now, it's easy to get in for as little as just $50.
Just $50. So obviously, buying shares of Tesla for hundreds of dollars, that's not necessarily the best way to play manifested AI.
Well, don't get me wrong, Chris. I absolutely love Tesla.
Yeah.
And even with the recent collapse in its share price, I still believe Tesla is the most valuable AI company in the world in the long run. But today, as manifested AI hits the market, there is a much better way to play this historic revolution with much bigger profit potential. I mean, the simple fact is, if you can understand the bigger picture before everyone else and use that knowledge to get on the right side of these massive tech trends, I have no doubt about it, your financial future could change forever.
And you just described perfectly why I wanted to have you here today, Jeff, because when it comes to spotting these life-changing tech trends before they explode onto the scene, I honestly, there's no one else I know that has your history and track record of incredible calls out there, especially in the AI industry. Give you an example here. February of 2016, almost nobody was talking about artificial intelligence. You know what I'm talking about here, but you picked NVIDIA as one of your favorite stocks. Today, arguably the most popular AI stock in the world. Shares have jumped by what? More than 23,000%. It's enough to turn $1,000 into $240,000. The following year, in 2017, you picked AMD, the chip maker, as your favorite stock. It was not on anybody's radar at the time, but today, AMD is one of the biggest players in AI right now. And anybody who had listened to you then and held on had a chance to turn $1,000 into $19,000. And then it happened again in early the next year, 2018, while everybody out there was calling Elon Musk is a fraud. Wall Street analysts were predicting Tesla's going to crash.
They're losing money on every single car they sell.
Exactly. But here, Jeff Brown was sticking his neck out with one of the most controversial investment calls of the decade. You're nodding your head.
I'll never forget how much hate mail I got for that call. I mean, back then, I told everyone, when I think about Tesla, I see one of the leading artificial intelligence companies in the world. Mm-hmm. This is the incredible part that most don't see or understand. Tesla designed a software/AI platform designed to operate cars. So at the time, most people thought that I was crazy. But of course, what's happened since? I mean, just a few months ago, I went out on the road in a Cybertruck to prove that Teslas do have the ability to drive themselves. And instead of crashing, shares have jumped as high as 2,150% before their recent drop.
Right. And that Tesla call alone would have changed so many investors' lives forever. But what's truly impressive, this is, I guess, where I want to land, it's how consistently that you've done this. You've identified the biggest AI winners across the board time and time again, even though you always remind people that all investments carry risk. Past performance doesn't guarantee future success. I get it. But from Palo Alto Networks, 808% cybersecurity surge. ASML Holdings, 582% semiconductor run-up, right?
Yep.
To even Lam Research's 500% run-up. You really have helped all of your readers position themselves on the right side of this historic tech trend over and over and over again. But let's get back to today here. What you're telling us now about manifested AI makes even all of that impressive track record, those wins look kind of small by comparison.
That's exactly right, Chris. And I'd like to be clear about something. In 5 out of the past 7 years, I've identified the number one performing tech stock before it took off. So not the number 5 or not the number 10, the number one tech stock of the year. But manifested AI is different. This isn't just about picking another winning stock. We are witnessing the birth of an entirely new technology category, an entirely new industry, really, that I predict will grow at least 25,000% in the coming years. And what we're about to discuss could be the investment call of the decade, perhaps even the century. Now, I'm confident we'll all look back a decade from this moment. Some will remember it as a time when they decided to be a part of history, and others will let it pass like a ship in the night.
He is not backing down. This is powerful stuff, the claims that you're making. This might be a good time to pause for just a moment.
Okay.
And let me address any one of you out there who may have joined late. If you're just tuning in right now, you wouldn't believe you've missed a lot so far, but don't worry. In a few minutes, tech expert Jeff Brown is actually going to show us how to get in on a revolutionary technology that's been developed by Elon Musk with an expected market growth rate of 25,000% over just the next few years. It's a breakthrough that Jeff is actually calling manifested artificial intelligence, or manifested AI for short, and apparently starting with just $50. But Jeff, before we get into details about that, what exactly is manifested AI?
Okay.
I mean, we know it's AI in real life, but can you explain exactly what it is, what it's going to look like? Second question, how did Elon crack this code when everybody else seemed to fail? You mentioned something about that. And then why does it represent such massive growth in the years ahead? What's going on?
All right. These are all the right questions, Chris. I'm glad you asked them. And of course, today I'm going to answer all of them. What's happening is something the world really hasn't seen for over 200 years. In fact, what's about to occur will be talked about for centuries to come, this period in time right now. And I know that might sound odd, but to understand how big this is, how Elon's manifested AI breakthrough will create a whole new 25,000% growth market, while also transforming how we live, how we work, and even enjoy countless hours of free time, we really have to step back to the lamp-lit streets of Manhattan in 1882, where Thomas Edison changed the world forever.
All right. So I know we're talking about a chance at a fortune here, but I heard getting more free time back now. So you really got my attention now.
Of course.
But what happened, would you say 1882 in Manhattan?
Well, you may have guessed this already, but it was the single greatest technological revolution the world had ever seen. In 1882, Thomas Edison, what did he do? He flipped a switch that changed the world forever. Before then, the world operated only by daylight and sometimes candlelight, of course. When the sun set, production pretty much stopped, and all that was left was candlelight or the warm glow of a fire. But Edison's bold undertaking at the Pearl Street Power Station changed everything with one simple idea. Let's make artificial light powered by electric machines that can run 24 hours a day. Of course, Chris, we all take it for granted now, but 140 years ago, I mean, this was a revolutionary breakthrough. It was the first time in history that productivity wasn't limited by daylight hours. And suddenly factories could operate around the clock, multiplying output and igniting an unprecedented explosion of prosperity that created America's first Gilded Age. So let's take a look at this chart, Chris. Can you see where Edison flipped the switch?
Yeah, it's pretty obvious. GDP per capita went absolutely parabolic there. But now I have to ask, what does this electricity breakthrough have to do with manifested AI?
Oh my gosh, Chris, everything. It was just like Edison. Electricity created unprecedented wealth by powering factories to work day and night. Elon's manifested AI will do the same by finally powering fleets of fully autonomous robots that can learn, adapt, and solve real-world problems entirely on their own, unprompted by humans. Like these warehouse robots that work around the clock sorting packages, these agricultural drones that monitor crops with precision that no farmer could match, and even these medical robots that will revolutionize healthcare as we know it.
All right, now we're getting to it. Autonomous robots. So, Jeff, this is something that's been promised for years by companies like Boston Dynamics.
Good memory.
In fact, I'm certain they've actually shown robots running around for at least 10 years now, right?
You're telling me, Chris. I've been researching, working with, and tracking robotics for nearly 2 decades now. I even remember where I was when Boston Dynamics was founded first. And while those Boston Dynamic videos are incredible feats of engineering, the robots are essentially running computer-coded dance routines, pre-programmed routines. And despite more than 3 decades of work and billions of dollars of investment, Boston Dynamics and others have never figured out how to take robots beyond tech demonstrations and instead have them work alongside humans in our everyday lives. They have never figured out how to bridge the reality gap.
Right. Yeah, you mentioned the reality gap problem earlier. What is it exactly about that particular problem, though, that has been problematic or stumped companies for so long?
Well, that's a great question, Chris. And to answer that, we simply need to just look at how humans are able to understand our surroundings. So, for example, let's say that you just walk into a room that you'd never been to before, and yet you're able to walk around, take a quick look, figure out where things are, where to take your seat.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it seems astonishingly simple, right?
Right.
It's second nature. Now, what happens if a child ran right in front of you as you were walking to your chair?
Well, I guess I'd stop. I'd pause. I mean, that's automatic. I wouldn't have to think about it.
Right. Very fair. Right. Exactly. Because, through your sensory inputs, your eyes and your human brains, you have a real-time view of the real world and can act and react to anything that's happening in your environment without really having to think too much about it. It comes so naturally. Now, traditional robots, on the other hand, they haven't been able to do that. In fact, before today, they needed to be meticulously pre-programmed for every possible scenario they might encounter in their own specific environment that they've been designed for. And I mean, every identified task had to be pre-programmed. So just one unexpected obstacle, let's just say like a kid having fun, and they've got a big problem.
Yeah, so I see now. That's why despite all of those flashy demos that we're talking about a minute ago, robots are stuck in, I guess, a highly controlled environment like factory assembly lines?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And that's why we haven't seen general purpose autonomous robots produced at scale. It's incredibly expensive and, quite frankly, an impossible task to code every possible scenario a robot could come across in the real world. However, thanks to Elon's manifested AI breakthrough, everything is about to change because now, just as Edison's electricity gave lifeless machines the power to work around the clock, Tesla's proprietary AI brain finally gives robots the intelligence to precisely understand their surroundings, infer the correct course of action in real time, and navigate our world all on their own with no endless scenario programming and coding required.
Right. All right. So Edison's invention is actually going off in my brain right now. This is why MIT scientists are coming out of the woodwork right now. They're saying we're in the middle of an industrial revolution for robotics because thanks to Elon's or Tesla's AI brain, the one last roadblock that held back the robotics industry for decades, that reality gap, as you called it, that gap is gone. It no longer exists. Or
not at all, Chris.
Okay.
Robots can now see the real world. They can interact with it and navigate the world just like we do. And with this ability comes the physical manifestation of AI that we've all been waiting for, along with some of the biggest financial rewards of our lifetime. In fact, Wall Street Journal writes we are about to see a huge boom. I mean, that's an understatement. And Bloomberg reports Wall Street has no intention of missing out. As they say, in recent weeks, investors have poured hundreds of millions of dollars into manifested AI firms. And when you consider just how much money is pouring into these firms. The money is truly outstanding. Before this breakthrough, it took Agility Robotics 10 years to raise just $350 million. But now, one robotic startup raised $350 million in just 1 year flat. And Chris, this is only a small taste of what's coming, because remember what Jensen Huang said, the ChatGPT moment for manifested AI is around the corner. Well, I have to say that it's coming much sooner than most people think. And just like ChatGPT, I believe the adoption of this manifested AI technology will happen far faster than anything that we've seen before in history.
Okay, so the pieces are starting to come together for me, I guess. But what makes you so sure about that last statement? I mean, this isn't like software, where I can just type something in the comfort of my own home. I mean, you said it so many times here. This is the physical manifestation, the physical form of AI here manifested in the real world. So there's a part of me that's wondering, are people going to be hesitant to work alongside robots? Won't it be intrusive to have them in our homes?
Not at all, Chris. The fact is nearly half of all U.S. households have some form of robotics in their homes already.
Yeah.
It may not be intuitive, but whether it's an Alexa, an iRobot, Roomba vacuum cleaner, or Google Nest Hub, having a general purpose autonomous robot with an AI brain it's just the next best thing. And in fact, one of my readers tells me that these robots can't arrive fast enough, because in between helping her host big family get-togethers, clean up the home while she spends times with her kids, and even have the robots do weekly lawn care, it would save her countless hours of time, not to mention money too. And the fact is, she may not have to wait much longer. Just watch this.
Wow. Now that's, that is impressive, because I've never seen robots do that before. That looks different. So this is real time. They're obviously reacting to each other. Look at that. So this is not coded. This is not coded actions on their part.
It's not. That's correct, Chris. And thanks to, this is really a ripple effect of Elon's AI breakthrough applied in the robotics industry. These robots, which are built by a manifested AI startup, they simply heard a command, they perceived and understood their environment, and guess what? They're completing their assigned task. And upon seeing these developments, investors couldn't pile in fast enough, raising the company's valuation by 1,500%. Chris, get this, in just 1 year flat.
Well, I understand why they're excited about it. The future is here. So we're talking about 15 times our money here just from demonstrating general purpose robotics for everyday folks. Now, I have to ask, what about commercially, the business world? What's the impact in money look like there?
Well, it's even bigger, Chris.
Yeah.
I mean, take this bipedal robot produced by Agility Robotics, for example. According to Yahoo Finance, their robot made history by becoming the first humanoid robot deployed in commercial operations. In fact, Digit has worked around the clock, moving over 10,000 orders for Spanx. And that's why Agility Robotics is raising cash like there's no tomorrow, with big names like Schaefer, SoftBank, even Amazon pouring in as much as $400 million, or in other words, 50 times more cash than their earliest fundraise.
Right. So that is absolutely massive. And with that kind of growth, just $1,000 could turn into $50,000. But Jeff, I know you pretty well, and I can't help but wonder if we're seeing only a fraction of the potential here. I know I'm right, because he always gives me that grin. So what happens? Here's the question. What happens when Elon brings his particular manifested AI vision to life here? What happens then?
Well, for most people, it will be simply jaw-dropping, Chris. It's just absolutely unbelievable, because while these robotic developments are impressive, what Elon will unveil next will be the ChatGPT moment for autonomous robots. And his Optimus robots transform both our homes and factories at the same time. So just watch this.
That is amazing. It's the real it's science fiction come to life. I mean, it's happening right now before our very eyes. That's impressive.
And Chris, this is what will spark the biggest boom ever. And as you can see right here, right now, there's, more than 4 million, what I would consider modern industrial robots that have been deployed. And robot deployment has been growing slowly at about, let's say about 10% a year. But after July 23rd, I believe those numbers are going to skyrocket. And I'm expecting robotic deployment will explode to at least 1 billion units at a minimum, which will all but create what Forbes calls a brand new multi-trillion-dollar economy. And here's the most exciting part, Chris. Now, I've identified the one company that holds the master key to this entire revolution. It's a $50 stock that supplies the critical technology Elon absolutely needs for his robots. In fact, without this company's technology, Elon's vision would be dead on arrival. And that's why I've detailed everything in my urgent briefing, Elon's 25,000% secret weapon, the one stock that makes Tesla's robotic revolution possible. Now, as far as I'm concerned, this could be the single most important investment opportunity that I've uncovered in my entire career.
Right. So, wow, a $50 stock with 25,000% potential. I mean, that's exactly the kind of asymmetric opportunity that your readers have come to expect from it, John. Before we dive into that, along with how our viewers can access this important research, you've mentioned that one specific date several times already. What exactly is happening on July 23rd?
All right. Well, it's simple, Chris. On July 23rd, I believe Elon will announce his general-purpose autonomous robot, the Optimus Gen 3, which is now entering mass production.
So wait a minute. Hang on here. Entering mass production, as in he's already starting to scale his general-purpose autonomous robots?
You caught on to that. Yes, you heard me right.
Well, so that can't be right. That sounds insanely fast because he just released the Optimus prototype, at the end of 2023?
Good memory. He did, Chris. And it's not your fault if you feel like this snuck up on you.
Yeah.
The fact is, when Elon first released Optimus back in December of 2023, along with his production plans to scale by the end of 2024, the mainstream media doubted him nonstop, saying things like AI experts have their doubts, or is the friend Elon Musk says that will allow for a future where there is no poverty? Probably not. Or my personal favorite, it's best to take Tesla's claims with a grain of salt. But fast forward to a little over 1 year later, have a look at what's happening right now. In the picture shown, we are witnessing the beginning of what will eventually become a mass production line of intelligent, fully autonomous Optimus humanoid robots, which means Elon is already making good on his bold production promise, all while proving the doubters wrong, just like he always does.
Yeah, well, no kidding. I mean, after watching Elon build PayPal, SpaceX, and Tesla's autonomous vehicles, all of which made investors very, very wealthy, I guess we shouldn't be surprised that the mainstream media got it so wrong yet again. Right? But, even with that said, I mean, how is it possible? How did Elon get the production, that robotic production line going so quickly? I mean, general purpose autonomous robots, you just mentioned him a few minutes ago. That's a completely new product category.
You're right in that sense, Chris. For most people and companies even, this is a completely new product category. But for Elon, for almost 2 decades, all he's done is eat, sleep, and breathe autonomous robots. Now remember, Elon's already solved the biggest roadblock stopping self-driving cars from hitting the mainstream, which, as it happens, was suffering from the same infamous reality gap that's plagued robotics for decades. In fact, before 2020, Tesla was taking the same stab at the reality gap issue as every major robotics player, trying and failing at coding for every possible scenario that happens on the road.
I could understand that. I mean, if highways are always very unpredictable at pretty much all the time. I mean, I can't even begin to count how many people I've seen texting and driving in the past week alone, right?
It is a madhouse out there for sure. Accidents by human error began to skyrocket after the invention of the smartphone. And that's largely why insurance rates have become so expensive. Driving is simply more dangerous than it ever has been in my lifetime. And that is why Elon's self-driving cars never really took off. It was just too complex of a problem to solve with the technology at that time. But then in December of 2020, Elon Musk made the AI brain shift, giving his electric vehicles, which really, if you think about it, Chris, are just big computers, big robots on 4 wheels.
Yeah.
It gave them the ability to perceive their surroundings, to make real-time decisions and navigate our world all on their own.
Yeah, and boy, did that decision pay off big time. I've seen videos of Tesla's car. They're driving themselves out of the factory and right onto the dealership blocks, right? No one in the driver's. It's amazing.
Well, Chris, I know you've heard me say this before, but I no longer drive my Tesla anymore. It drives me,
right?
And I am not kidding. Tesla's full self-driving software has become so natural and completely safe that I no longer have to touch the wheel. And that's the key point here, Chris. Elon hasn't just solved the technical problem of self-driving cars. He's proven that his AI brain solution is the answer to the one roadblock that's held back robotics for decades. So Musk and his team have solved the reality gap by inventing a fully autonomous AI for general purpose robotics. And it doesn't matter whether or not that robot is a car, a truck, a semi, or even a humanoid. All that's missing is the manufacturing capabilities to bring those autonomous robots to market at scale. And if there is one thing that Elon Musk understands better than anybody else, it is how to build, as he says, the machine behind the machine.
Right.
I mean, just look at what he's already accomplished. Ever since Tesla went through what Elon called the production hell, where his manufacturing team built an extra production line under a massive tent just to build enough Model 3s to barely claw out of debt. Tesla's gigafactories now make over 2.3 million electric cars a year.
I can remember back in 2018, it was a big deal just to make 5,000 cars a week.
Right.
Now to make over 2 million cars a year, I mean, that is quite a feat.
Well, it's even more impressive when you realize that in order to master electric car manufacturing, Elon also had to master the production of the 4680 million-mile battery at the same time. You see, when he unveiled those game-changing 4680 lithium-ion batteries, which now power the lightning-fast Cybertruck and, of course, the best-selling Model Y, my own research suggests that his gigafactory only produced 450,000 batteries that year. But just 3 short years later, Tesla's gigafactories have now churned out over 100 million of these batteries, Chris.
So that, if we're doing the math there, that's a whopping 22,000% increase in production.
And Elon's manufacturing innovation, it doesn't stop with speed and volume, Chris. He has completely revolutionized cost efficiency too. I mean, just think about it. At SpaceX, he managed to slash the cost of the Falcon 9 rocket engine from $2 million down to just $200,000. That's a 90% reduction that shocked the aerospace industry.
I had not actually heard about that. That's incredible. 90% cost reduction on rocket technology, rocket science, no less. So if Elon, clearly, if he can make that kind of manufacturing breakthrough with something that complex, aerospace engineering, just imagine what he'll do with autonomous robots.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
And that's why I believe that on July 23rd, Elon will shock the world when he announces that Optimus Gen 3 is entering mass production. All the pieces are in place. The AI brain technology, the one true solution to robotics reality gap, combined with his unmatched manufacturing expertise. It's the perfect setup for bringing AI out of our computer screens and manifesting it here in the physical world.
Right. Now, that $50 stock that you mentioned earlier, that's the one that's supplying the critical technology you said Elon absolutely needs for his robots. That, I assume, that's how our viewers out there can position themselves and take advantage of this before the potential announcement.
Precisely, Chris. This one stock will ensure they are on the ground floor of a 25,000% growth market. And it's imperative that they get in as soon as possible. Because Elon just revealed on an all-hands-on-deck meeting, Tesla has the capacity to make as many as 12,000 autonomous robots by the end of this year. Can you believe that?
Man.
And he commented earlier this year that once they figure out how to manufacture it efficiently, things are really going to go ballistic next year, where he believes they'll create 100,000 units per month starting in 2026.
All right, so I want to make sure I got that right. 12,000 robots this year, but then that's followed with 100,000 monthly. So wow, that's unbelievable. But you know what? I remember when Wall Street said Tesla would never make 5,000 cars a week, and now look where they are. So
exactly right, Chris.
All right.
And even if he doesn't ramp up as quickly as I expect, manifested AI is inevitable and I would argue imminent. And if you want to become wealthy from this new 25,000% growth market, then I believe the best way to play it is with the company that I'm recommending inside Elon's 25,000% secret weapon, the one stock that makes Tesla's robotic revolution possible. Because thanks to this company's vital technology for the robotics industry, they've acquired partnerships with Tesla, with Volkswagen, Hyundai, NIO, and so many more major robotics players. Meanwhile, this company is still virtually unheard of, and the stock is 168 times smaller than NVIDIA.
Oh, wow. So even if this company grows just half as big as NVIDIA, we're still looking at a chance to see an 84x return. So that would be enough to turn $1,000 into $84,000. Now, next question, why is this company's technology so critical to all of these major robotics players, Elon Musk and others?
Well, I can't reveal too much here, but in short, without this company's proprietary imaging systems, general purpose autonomous robots would effectively be blind. And instead of a 25,000% new product market rollout, we just have robots crash into objects, stumble into humans, and destroy any chance of this manifested AI revolution ever happening.
Okay, so they're like the robotic industry's eyesight supplier.
Well, that's a great way to think about that. And I'd only make a slight change to your metaphor. I believe they're the robotic industry's best eyesight supplier by a country mile. Because right now, this company's advanced imaging sensors are helping power the vision systems in Tesla's self-driving cars.
It's an extreme vote of confidence. I mean, that tech, after all, is literally responsible for the safety of people on the road.
I know, but their vision technology has been instrumental in helping Tesla's vehicles navigate safely for billions of miles on the road. That's not an exaggeration, billions of miles. In fact, their technology is so good, I even let those eyes guide my Cybertruck's driving while I was blindfolded.
Wait, you did what?
While I was sitting in the driver's seat, blindfolded, Chris, I even had my hands behind my back while their robotic eyes navigated my Cybertruck down surface roads and even down the very busy I-95 freeway.
You got to be kidding me. You were driving blindfolded with your hands behind your back on the interstate.
Well, my robot with four wheels was. I was just along for the ride. The point that I was making is, as far as robotic eyes go, this company's tech is the best in the business. And I literally bet my life on it.
You did, yeah.
And they recently just unveiled a groundbreaking new sensor that can see 4 times further than anything else on the market. And best of all, hardly anyone on Wall Street is even paying attention to them. So out of all the big banks like JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, Citadel, and so on, only 2 analysts from Goldman Sachs and Citibank are giving this company a screaming buy rating.
Somebody needs to give them a raise.
Well, maybe I should steal them from Wall Street. I could always use another great analyst.
Well, yeah, I know, but I'm pretty sure they would do it too. They'd jump ship. So jokes aside for a second, why is it that you think they're missing the opportunity here, these Wall Street firms?
I mean, Chris, for the same reason that they missed the boat on Tesla when I recommended it in early 2018. I mean, back then, the mainstream media thought Tesla would crash because all they could see was how Tesla was losing money on every car sold, when in reality, Tesla was one of the leading artificial intelligence companies in the world. And now they're making the same mistake all over again. All over the news, we're hearing about how Tesla is doomed, how Tesla's electric car growth is finished. But yet again, they're missing the bigger picture. They don't see how Tesla's AI brain is the catalyst for the 25,000% robotics market. And since they don't see that, there's no way they're recommending this eyesight supplier that I've been telling you about. That's why, if our viewers want to get in on the ground floor of this urgent opportunity, I'm talking about the birth of a whole new $25 trillion market, then I urge everyone watching to read my report, Elon's 25,000% secret weapon, right now, before Wall Street gets wise to their mistake.
Yeah, I can't wait to get my hands on this research. Now, for the viewers at home who do want to take you up on this offer and get in on the action, what can you tell us about this report?
Well, of course, Chris. We'll cover every detail about this company, including its name and ticker symbol, why it's the number one way to play this new 25,000% growth market, and how their vision tech will help manifest AI brain-powered robots in the real world.
All right, so we'll get all the details there. You mentioned the stock's share price earlier. What was it again, $50 per share?
Well, that's right. But with how fast this manifested AI story is developing, I do not expect it to stay there for that long, which is why I want to rush this report out to anyone committed to learning how to get in on the ground floor of this new growth market before it potentially takes off 250-fold. And all I ask in return is that you consider my monthly research service, the Near Future Report, at no risk to you. Try it out for the next 60 days with no risk at all. And when you do, I'll immediately send you this report.
Jeff, that sounds like a good deal to me. And as I understand it, Near Future Report is your flagship research service.
It is.
How does it work exactly?
Well, absolutely. I call it the Near Future Report because the future is coming much faster than we think. Technology is moving so fast that it's tough for the average person to keep up. But by the time they hear about it from the mainstream media, it is already too late. Shares have already popped and the big money is off the table. And that's why most investors, they end up missing out on big investment opportunities. And that's also where I can help. As you mentioned, I was a tech executive for 25 years, and I helped proliferate and sell advanced technologies around the world. These companies are now generating over $50 billion in annual sales. This global industry experience that I have, along with my experience and access as an angel investor, spanning hundreds of private deals, gives me the information, the ability, and the access to spot the most lucrative tech trends months, usually years before they go mainstream.
Right, absolutely. And we mentioned this earlier, but I have seen firsthand how great you've been at doing just that over the years. Having a lens into your research and your predictions has completely transformed how I see the world and the future, that's for sure. I mean, ever since we've started covering stories together, I've seen you alert your readers. You've alerted people to Bitcoin, right before it exploded as high as 26,000%. NVIDIA, before AI exploded that stock 22,000% higher. And then you mentioned this earlier too, 5 different number one stocks of the year, which have exploded anywhere from 233%, 148%, 732% in a single year. So with those kinds of blockbuster picks, you have definitely established yourself as the go-to name. Jeff Brown is a go-to name in tech investing. A lot of people consider you one of the top experts in the world.
Well, Chris, that's my goal every month inside the Near Future Report. You'll hear about the most exciting tech opportunities as they hit my radar. And right now, our model portfolio has a hand in the most promising technologies of the decade. 5G, AI, electric vehicles, quantum computing, and as we've talked about today, Elon's 25,000% secret weapon, the one stock that makes Tesla's robotic revolution possible.
Right. And you also help navigate a lot of the ups and downs of the stock market too, right?
Well, that's right. For example, on March 17th, 2020, amid peak pandemic hysteria, I sent an urgent video to my readers and made a very bold call.
Yes, you did.
3 days later, the stock market began a historic bounce back. And since then, the NASDAQ climbed as high as almost 200%. But some of my model portfolio picks, they jumped much higher. So if you had held on past their original recommendations and sold at their peak, you could have made as much as 2,899%, in NVIDIA as much as 769% from Arista Networks, and even 679% on Palo Alto.
Right. So in other words, we're talking about market beating gains. In some cases, beating the market by as much as 14 to 1, and even during some very volatile stretches of time. So with performance like that, I know it's not cheap to join the Near Future Report.
Well, you're right, Chris. It's not inexpensive, but because time is of the essence here, I'm going to give our viewers a huge discount. And I really don't want price to be an issue. The most important thing is that you get into this recommendation now.
Right. Well, I know viewers will appreciate that. So how big a discount are we talking about here? Maybe, I don't know, 50% off?
But it's even bigger than that, Chris. But before I give you the full details, well, I'd like to tell you about another Elon Musk opportunity that I'm also excited about, one that will make the 25,000% robotics boom even bigger.
Are you kidding me? I don't know how that would be possible. You just showed us something that could create a $25 trillion market.
Well, that's exactly it, Chris, because while the robotics revolution could be worth $25 trillion on its own, Elon is quietly working on something behind the scenes that could supercharge these AI brain-powered robots to levels that most people simply can't imagine. It's something that he calls Project Colossus.
Project Colossus. Now, what is that? Is that another Tesla initiative?
No, this is coming out of his private AI company, xAI. And inside their facility, Elon has just activated what he says is the most powerful supercomputer of any kind in the world. And it's training a new kind of AI, one that isn't just smart, but one that's improving itself every single day using a system that is known as Grok.
So Grok I've heard of. That's Elon's answer to ChatGPT, right?
Well, Chris, that's what most people think. But here's the truth. Grok is something else entirely. While other AI systems like ChatGPT release major updates, usually every few months or every 6 months, Elon built Project Colossus so Grok could improve itself almost on a daily basis. And since the release of Grok 3, I've actually experienced this myself. It is happening. xAI is using a software architecture unlike any of the major players building large AI models. And this kind of speed allows an AI to learn exponentially faster. And why I believe Elon's xAI will be the first to achieve artificial general intelligence, or AGI.
AGI. Now, that's a type of AI, I think I've heard of, that could eventually run companies. It could invent new technology, manage the economy, things like that.
Yes, and that it's not science fiction anymore, Chris. I mean, with Project Colossus, Elon isn't just building a smarter chatbot. He is building the infrastructure for an entirely new kind of intelligence, a synthetic intelligence that will transform our planet, one that will reshape how we work, how we live, and even how nations compete.
Right. So this is not just a business opportunity. What we're talking about here is a world power shift.
Exactly. I mean, whoever controls AGI literally controls the future. And right now, Elon is sprinting ahead of every other company or government on the planet. And that's why his company, xAI, is already attracting the biggest names in venture capital. Andreessen Horowitz, Sequoia, BlackRock, Fidelity, they are all racing to get a piece of this.
Right. But now xAI, I believe, is a private company still. So how could anybody watching today actually get involved here?
Now, that's a great question. And that's where it gets interesting, Chris, because even though xAI isn't publicly traded, I have found a way for everyday investors to claim a stake in Project Colossus without needing a Silicon Valley connection and without being an accredited investor.
Really? How would that work?
Well, I can't reveal everything here out of respect for my current subscribers. So instead, I have laid out all the details in a special report called Partnering with Elon Musk, How to Claim Your Stake in Project Colossus. And inside, I show you how to use a little-known vehicle to legally and safely gain exposure to xAI. And it's the only real backdoor that I've found for a normal investor to partner with Elon in what could become the most valuable AI company of all time. And here's the best part. Our viewers will also get this report at no additional charge the moment that they join the Near Future Report here today.
All right. Well, it sounds like the readers are getting more than just one moonshot opportunity today.
Well, that's right. And Chris, we're not done yet, because I also want to give viewers access to one more special report. It's called How to Profit from the Next NVIDIA. You see, AI as we know it wouldn't exist without semiconductors. And today almost all of those semiconductors, those chips, are built by one company, NVIDIA.
Right.
And that's why their stock is up more than 23,000% since I first recommended it back in February of 2016. And it's also why NVIDIA's A100 chip has become the single most important AI processor in the world. But here's what most investors don't know yet. There is a new chip on the scene, and according to early tests, it has 50 times the computer power of NVIDIA's A100.
50 times more power. So safe to say this chip is not an upgrade. This is in a whole class of its own, apparently.
That's right. It is in a class of its own. There is nothing else like it. And the researchers at Los Alamos National Laboratory would have to agree with you, because after testing this new chip, they found that it performed 179 times faster than the world's most powerful supercomputer, Chris. And that's why I believe this company's chip will power the next wave of AI breakthroughs, from AGI to robotics and beyond.
All right, so here's what I'm thinking now. With performance like that, as you just described, Wall Street's got to be all over that.
In dramatic fashion, Chris. I mean, billionaire Ken Griffin, founder of the world's largest hedge fund, Citadel, has already taken a big stake. This is the same man who made $16 billion in profit in a single year, the largest haul in hedge fund history.
Forgot about that.
And do you know what's really telling? Griffin just sold over $1.1 billion worth of NVIDIA shares and shifted his bet towards this company.
So obviously, he definitely knows something that most people don't. Now, who else is in?
I mean, Chris, it's a who's who of the Wall Street elite. I mean, Ken Fisher, Stephen Cohen, Paul Tudor Jones, George Soros. Combined, we're talking about billions of dollars in early positioning, all flowing into one company most people have never heard of, and I believe it could be the next NVIDIA. And of course, I've laid out all the full details, including the name, the technology, and why I believe this is a generational setup in that last special report called How to Profit from the Next NVIDIA. So just like before, viewers will also get this report at no additional cost the moment they take a risk-free membership to the Near Future Report.
All right, so that is quite an incredible lineup, Jeff. So let me just recap for everybody watching at home right now. When you join the Near Future Report, you're going to gain instant access to each of the special reports that Jeff has just mentioned. That's Elon's 25,000% secret weapon, partnering with Elon Musk, a backdoor opportunity, as Jeff called it, to gain exposure to his private AI company, XAI. Then we've got how to profit from the next NVIDIA. And as we've covered in depth, each of these opportunities has really big potential. In fact, your first opportunity alone is shaping up to be a 14 times bigger than the AI boom itself. Now, Jeff, earlier you mentioned that you're offering a huge discount today. Let's talk about that.
All right, so here's the deal. The normal price for a one-year membership is $499. But today, you can access everything that I've mentioned here for just $149. And remember, I'm not even asking for any type of long-term commitment today. I just want you to try the Near Future Report out for the next 60 days to see if it's right for you. And if during that period you find that you're not getting the very best tech investing research you've ever seen, or for any reason at all, you can simply call our member services team and cancel your membership. We'll issue you a fast, full refund for your membership fee. And best of all, you can keep everything, whether you stay with me long-term or you are a member for just a few months. That means each of those special reports you see on your screen, Elon's 25,000% secret weapon, the one stock that makes Tesla's robotic revolution possible, partnering with Elon Musk, how to claim your stake in Project Colossus, how to profit from the next NVIDIA. They are all yours forever. And to get started, all you need to do is simply click the button below this video right now. And once you do, you'll be taken to another page in a new tab where you can review everything one last time.
This is great. Phenomenal, folks. If you don't mind, I've seen some notes from your readers, Jeff. I'd like to take just a moment because I think it could help our viewers out there. While you click on the button and join the Near Future Report today, listen up. Tim says that, Jeff, I have been investing and working in the technology industry since 1985. Your insight and experience is easily the best I've ever read. I'm in my first year with you and have made good money on my recommendations. Thank you. Then Ruan, hope I'm pronouncing his name right, he wrote in to say, I've been a loyal subscriber for some time now and greatly admire and appreciate the work that you do to bring us readers such quality recommendations. Your newsletters are worth their weight in gold. And one more here from Leonard, who wrote, just wanted you all to know that this is the most trustworthy news and picks I have ever come across, hands down. My portfolio is nothing now but Jeff's picks, and I'm very pleased with how they are performing. The best newsletter published, period. Keep up the great work. There's some great recommendations and a glowing endorsements there.
Sir.
And I'm sorry, go ahead.
Those are all amazing to hear.
Yeah, and it's only a small handful of, the letters that Jeff has gotten over the years. But my point is, for those of you watching at home, if you join the Near Future Report today, you could become Jeff's next success story out there. And all you got to do is click the button you see below this video, and you can get started right now. Jeff, we're almost out of time here, about to wrap up. I just want to see if there's anything else you'd like to say before we sign off. You get the last word.
Well, thanks, Chris. There is one last thing. Before today, robots have been trapped in research labs, limited by that pre-programmed code that I mentioned earlier. But now, thanks to Elon's AI brain breakthrough, robots will finally perceive their surroundings, understand them, make real-time decisions, and navigate the real world all on their own. And this will all but trigger a 25,000% growth market explosion. Best part of all, our viewers can actually claim a stake in a little-known stock that provides the critical eyesight technology that makes Tesla's Optimus robots possible. But if you miss this moment in time, I believe you'll regret it for the rest of your life. So please, click on that button to get started, because I highly recommend you get in right now before Elon announces mass production, which I estimate will happen by July 23rd.
This is a very exciting opportunity, folks, and you heard it here first. All you got to do is click that button below right now, and we look forward to welcoming you to the Near Future Report. Jeff, any last word?
Thanks, Chris. First of all, thank you all for your time, and remember, we have so much to look forward to.
For Jeff Brown, I'm Chris Hurt. Thank you for watching.